Well, hello, everybody, and hello, Andy and Chad. How was your guys' weeks this week?
It's great because I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving and turkey dinner and all that fun stuff. And I've got some out-of-state family that showed up. I haven't been able to spend hardly any time with them yet, but that's always a pleasure, especially this particular group of out-of-state family.
So Chad's looking forward to family time for the Thanksgiving holiday, huh?
Yes, sir, I am.
It's good. Andy, you doing some Thanksgiving anything?
I am. I got family on the road right now from Texas coming up, which will be nice to get everybody together. Some of them will be here probably 3 or 4 o'clock today, and some of them will be here at midnight, but that'll be good. And things are really good, man, between Dallas and Kansas City and Wichita this week. It's been a lot of fun.
Busy.
A lot of interesting adventures, and frankly, a lot of time in negotiating tables, and then 3 hours later on a ladder in 30-degree weather with the wind blowing about 18 foot off the ground.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
So I could do a Superman change in the bathroom and go back out and do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So it's been a lot of fun. I have very adventurous days and big picture. God, I'm looking forward to being with family next few days. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, same. We're gonna do a Thanksgiving at our house again and have 20 some people over. Family, just to enjoy the time. And it seems like now's the time of year where you want to take a break and you want to slow down and just enjoy your family, enjoy the time, and hopefully forget about the stresses of the world. I don't know if everybody's Thanksgiving is going to work like that, because that's what I've seen circulating on social media. Boy. People want to talk politics during the hodies, and I'm going to uninvite this person because of how they voted and everything else. But that's so trivial to me. That we talk a lot on this program about, even though we have differences, see through those differences.
Hey, how you treat your own family, that's your business.
It's like, I'm not going to spoil my Thanksgiving over the deal.
No, I'm gonna do the Matthew West thing for Thanksgiving. That's just the way it's gonna be, man. I'm gonna get my stretchy pants on. I'm gonna get my straw for the gravy, and we're just gonna have some good old-fashioned gluttony, and that's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing on Thanksgiving. Okay, before we get started in anything, I want to just two things. This kind of a down, and then hopefully an up. But many might have heard that Kurt Friesen, who is a North Newton City Council member, passed away unexpectedly. It says here on the social media page for North Newton City Government, Kurt Friesen died unexpectedly yesterday afternoon while working. Kurt was diagnosed with a condition, a rare bone marrow disease. Recently, he had suffered from a couple of fainting spells, and seems as though yesterday he fell and hit his head. EMT tried to revive, and he passed away. So we want to send condolences to Kurt's family and the city of North Newton and all those people's lives who were affected by his passing. The next one that we wanted to cover was kind of an up. It was that the Newton rail liners took second at state. So big deal there. Newton rail liners, congratulations. That's no easy task, and we were talking a little bit ago about in Harvey County how all the communities in Harvey County seem to be pulling in some wins here recently.
That is one. They competed something that's extremely dominated by private schools, and it's really kind of hard to break through in that dance competition. So it's really kind of cool to see Newton do that.
Do it. So good job, rail liners.
They have a great program here in Newton, particularly. And all the investment of the families that spend time together and go to those events, and the coaches that pour into these gals. I mean, it's just an amazing culture they're building there. So really excited to see what that looks like in the next 5 years as it continues to mature and grow. And they've been competitive for a long while now. This is not the first time they've done well.
Yeah, but they brought home the silver.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Congratulations once again. Most of you probably saw the smoke and the flames and that was going on outside of town here just within the last week, and it turns out that a company that we have here in Harvey County, most might drive by it, not even know what it was there. I mean, it's just kind of out of the way, just outside of town. Anyway, there was a fire, and they tried to contain it the best they could, but there was a loss of about 20,000 chickens there. So our condolences to the chickens, to the family that is suffering because their company is experiencing a loss. But I wanted to take a turn on here and just really consider media, how we have what is that, Andy?
You've never heard this one?
No.
The chicken fry?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Too soon?
Too
I'm
soon.
sorry.
And don't go Googling chickens in the sky either.
Zach Brown
Ghost
Band
chickens
chicken
in the
fried.
sky.
Here I was. Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I was going to say.
chicken
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
gonna get
That's
us
my version of
canceled,
jamming
Andy.
out on a podcast.
Yeah, you're
That's
gonna
about
get
as
us
far as I go.
copyrighted, man.
We're gonna.
No, we lost 20,000 chickens, right?
I was
Yeah.
giving my condolences, and you're making jokes out of the deal. You know, I mean, think about all the chickens that are lost. Andy.
We should have some kind of a seance ceremony deal. I mean, where are the
cluck
save the
ceremony?
pig people right now? You know what I'm saying? PETA should be all over this.
PETA's going to be all over us by the time it's all said and done. This is not something we praise, Andy. Bad. No, bad.
bad.
Okay.
Chicken fry is bad. Chicken roast. Okay, I'll stop.
All right. So on a serious note, I wanted to say something to people, and just how, you know, we've talked about things in the past and how you'll see anything and everything, and I was scrolling through the social medias, and I saw that Cake News had a post. Well, first I saw KSN had a post, and it said 20,000 egg-laying hens killed. Egg prices could go up. And then I scrolled down a little bit, and it turns out that Cake News says, company says Newton chicken barn fire will not impact egg prices.
You want the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
I want the truth.
So we're talking about a chicken barn that was like 6 weeks old, and there was a propane explosion, and that resulted in the loss of 20,000 chickens. And these were not your run-of-the-mill everyday chickens, okay? These were proprietary to whatever company it is that is supporting the local egg producer. And because of that, it sounds like a lot. And it is like something like the 5th deadliest livestock fire this year. I mean, in the nation. So it is a lot. But these particular chickens, those eggs that were coming out of them were selling for like $10 a dozen, and they are, they're like a boutique.
Creme de la creme.
Yeah, they're like a boutique egg.
Not your everyday egg.
Okay, understood.
Dylan's is going to be.
I buy, right?
Nah, these weren't the eggs you go into Dylan's and Walmart and buy. Okay,
Oh, dang.
That's the
Okay,
deal.
okay.
I try to get it from my neighbors.
And it represents a pretty big loss for the farmer, and I'm hopeful that he had decent insurance on the thing, and with a new barn, I would assume that he did. But hey, yeah, I mean, this is just, it's one of those things that I don't think we need to spend a whole crap ton of time on as a community. The only thing we really need to be asking as a community is, did you have insurance? And if you didn't, how can I help you out?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the questions that we need to be asking right now.
And you know what's good is, I mean, a thing that we can all take a sigh of relief over is that nobody was hurt. You know, I mean,
correct.
I know there
was someone in the barn when the explosion occurred. They got out, no injury. So, I wouldn't want to be that guy.
No.
I mean, he probably is making sure that he's probably happy that he didn't count his chickens before they hatched. Okay, we're not. This is not. We shouldn't be doing this. Okay, so anyway, to all those chickens that were lost, it stinks. I'm trying here, Andy.
Well,
I'm trying.
To me, I was having some flashbacks because in my childhood, I have one of my best friends and neighbors, they lost a hog barn, same way. And, lost about a quarter of their operation in one day. And I was there on the property watching the whole thing go down. And, I saw a lot of things that I can't unsee. And that would have been the same thing if I'd actually gotten on the property over there for the chicken barn. I'd have seen some things that you just can't unsee because it's not pretty and it's not fun. But at the end of the day, it occurred, it's over, and now we've got a dude that hopefully with insurance can rebuild.
Yeah. And folks, your egg prices won't be affected.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Okay.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, depends on which
Pretty
news
sure.
media organization you're listening to, because if anywho, okay, so this goes back to what Chad was talking about on previous podcasts, where the desire for news to be first often trumps the ability to have accurate.
Well, I would
information.
ask what was it? KSN was saying that egg prices are going to go up.
Yes.
I'd ask what their source is.
Well, I'm not sure it's
even
about a
that-
source.
even
I'm
that,
wondering if it's not just
That's
clickbait.
that's my first question. What's your source?
Yeah, that's a good question, but that doesn't always mean that a source with the title means anything anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, and not to pick on you because I love you, but even the time when you said the 36 lies to the one lie, and that's CNN. And 10 years ago, CNN, it was what it was, but it would be like, yeah, okay.
Would you accept,
they did their math.
The Hill?
Well, that's the thing. Which one? They're all bullshit.
That's the problem.
Like literally all of them are playing bullshit games, and where do you find the ones that aren't? So I'm going through an exercise right now, and there's leading words. I'm on Forbes right now looking for information. I just need a couple numbers. And I've went through 3 or 4 sites right now, and the way they're laying out the arguments or the titles and the clickbait and all the stuff, it's literally to gain traffic for the ads that are next to the actual story. These things have become a lost. You can't even find information. I'm doing it right now, and I've gone through MSNBC, CNN, Fox, News Nation, and the wording in the stories is so leading and biased that it's unbelievable. So sorry, it's just frustrating.
That's why I've on many occasions said, your local publishers like the Kansan.
Yeah,
it's
the best bet.
Well,
that is your best bet. But even then, how do you filter out? That's a good question. How do you filter out when you're on the ground floor and you see cop cars and you're wearing another hat in the community, like you did the other day on that other story we talked about 2 weeks ago, about the deals in the garage, the bombs, I believe it was.
Yep,
and that word might get us triggered. I don't know. We'll see.
Explosives in the garage.
Allegedly.
True. Yeah, because nobody's convicted
allegedly.
Of nothing yet.
But even then, you were there, so that's great, and you're there talking to our people, our local people. That's amazing. Outside of that, where do you go when you need information?
Well, it's getting harder.
Tough.
And I'll tell you, AI, although we would like to say that AI helps in many, many ways, it's Andy, what you're saying is absolutely true. Time and time again, leading into the program and trying to get information on the program, because we're not trying to just be clickbait or get one side of the story or whatever the case may be. It's very difficult to find credible information that's unbiased. It really is hard to do that. And I don't know, like for instance, let's go here. Okay. So I wanted to throw something out here that I thought was just absolutely insane, but we're going to go with this. Okay. Since we're still close to political times and clickbait and all this stuff and what people will believe and whether it's credible information. What do you got?
New York Times, would that be considered left or right these days?
New York Times, probably left.
Left, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that do the book review things? Okay. I'm just trying to find a number.
Just trying to find a number. Just trying to find some credible information. Okay, so
I forget which ones are where sometimes.
Yeah.
I think, this one.
I'm always on social media here. So of course, I've watched some insane behavior come from both left and right sides after the election, and how people are conducting themselves. But I saw something that, of course, was clickbait, got me in there, and I just wanted to throw this out here, guys. Did you know that there really are people that believe that Trump is the Antichrist?
Which Antichrist?
Okay, now
I'm just saying.
but here's the rationale behind it.
I'm just saying. I mean, people. I mean, I get it, and you're going to go through all your numerologies, yeah. Which, by the way, has absolutely nothing to do with biblical principle.
Okay, I mean, I gotta say this. Okay, Chad. Okay. Listen to this. The headline is, "I'll just leave this here." It shows Trump with a hat, 45-47, obviously, because he was the 45th president and he'll be the 47th president. And the person wanted for people to believe this, and I don't know if people do believe this, but just think about this for a second. If you take 4 plus 5, it equals 9, because, 45th president. If you take 4 plus 7, it's 11, because, the 47th president. And if you go to Revelations 9:11, it says they had an angel as their king known as Abaddon in Hebrew, and destroyer in our language. Revelation 9:11. Then
it's 9:11.
Oh, okay, that's even okay.
Hold on,
okay.
Don't make me get you to the warp level.
Okay,
let me finish.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got in too early. Let me back up.
So then, Revelations 13:3, one of the beast's heads appeared to have suffered a mortal wound, but the wound was healed, and the whole world marveled at the beast. There are people that will honestly think, because I said this and I'm making a mockery of this, that I better look out. God's going to strike me dead. What do you guys think about this? I mean, it can't get any more wild than what it is. We literally have people that are sitting here crying on camera.
Seriously.
My God, I have to tell my so-and-so that the half of the country hates them, and I don't know what to do. And it's like,
yeah.
I mean, are we wondering about like mental illness? I mean, like really, like what in the heck is going on with people? I look around, I'm like, I'm not in this. Am I really living in this world in this time? Have people always been this way? What is it that is?
When it comes to Revelation, people have always been that way.
Well, yeah, because Obama was the Antichrist, remember? Yeah. Hillary Clinton would have been the Antichrist. George Bush was the Antichrist. Why is it that, people will be able to manipulate any information how they want to manipulate it to justify the end, justify the means?
I take it as when you're a kid and you're camping with family and friends. There's a bunch of campsites usually. Where I used to go, you try to spread out, but there's this thing called the Frio River, and beautiful crystal clear water, 12 feet. In some places you look down, you can see straight down to the bottom. You see the perch moving around down there and stuff, and just a gorgeous backdrop. One of my favorite things was in the evenings, we would tell stories, and we had one uncle that was really good at telling stories. And it was Tomahawk Joe was the ongoing story. It was his creation. We found out years later. He literally went and carved a TJ into a tree and told the story. So the next day we all went looking, the kids, at this one tree with a TJ carved in it. and we were sitting there looking along the river rock beds and stuff, wondering if he was there looking at us. But, we had this community that would come in and huddle around him. And he would tell these amazing, elaborate stories of Tomahawk Joe and what he was doing out there in the river. And, it's just a powerful hour, jaw to the ground type of story. But in the other campsite, people were telling different stories, hopefully, or doing something that they were doing. But I tell you, nobody could have told me different that Tomahawk Joe did not exist. And I think it comes to the human nature. When we get in certain communities and certain silos and we start listening and manifesting stuff, your mind can do amazing things with what's sitting around you. And I think we're in an era where, the silos are algorithms and our stories are being told to us in a vacuum that we're searching for, that's keeping us there looking. And it's tough. We'll navigate this like we have other things throughout man's history. But this is a new tool. These are new tools, new systems. People are manipulating them. People are doing what they do with these systems. And we just have to be aware to know when to step back and be able to have friends that you can say, hey, chill out, man.
Does that go back to critical thinking skills?
I think it goes back to, yes, I mean, that's a piece of it, but you'll be surprised common sense is not common.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. One thing, another thing I wanted to throw as far as headlines that went out. I guess Netflix. We all watched the Tyson fight, and it turns out that because of the issues that they were having, that they were hit with a $50 million class action lawsuit because of the glitches.
That was by a dude in Florida, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I need to jump on that one.
I mean, you know,
send my $10 in.
Florida
see what
man.
happens.
Yeah. No, well, and what was it? Breach of contract.
Yeah.
He is claiming in his suit that it was a breach of contract.
Well, you know, if he's successful, everybody that had Netflix might get $5. You know. Look, this is a wild world we live in. I mean, I'm pointing this stuff out to just say it almost appears that nothing is real. Nothing is real that you look at. Andy talked about it. You can't find hardly any credible information. AI thrown in.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, and he says nothing is real. I mean, come on, the thing was rigged.
I mean, and you know what? There's been a lot that's come out on
contracts,
that.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Though, and non-disclosures.
Yes.
Who knows what this really is?
Yeah. Well, to me, you know what it was? It was literally a marketing scheme.
Oh, it's huge.
If you can get
that's exactly what social media
watch
is.
it, sell the advertisements, all the marketing that goes into that, the money that goes into that, it's like, hey, but people really are beginning to question everything.
The marketing scheme is real, but then there's a part of us though. Legends die hard. Mike Tyson's 58. He's a stud.
58.
He's a stud of a human. But
for a 58-year-old, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And he did lose a step, and his hips weren't on. And if anybody that knows boxing and watched that guy growing up, he was not Mike Tyson. He could still catch you, but that is a 58-year-old man, ex-athlete that beat his body to hell, fighting a 28-year-old dude in his prime that has been working out like a dog for the last 13, 14 years, and training and doing what he needed to do to be decent. Now, in his prime, Mike would have freaking leveled that freaking punk, but that's not where it's at. And this guy was smart enough to know, hey, I'm going to get this legend, and I'm going to go make him money, and I'm going to make money, and screw everybody else. And it's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And you know what? We got a show. Guys, there's people that watch reality TV and think it's real.
Yeah, that's not scripted.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
People, no, but this one is real. I know those other ones, but this one that I like.
I'll give you a great example of that, okay? I wasn't forced to watch it, but if I was going to spend any time with my family, I was forced to watch it, The Summit. And here we are, and you're finding out that the path forward is to actually go underneath a boulder. And, this is like the most calamitous thing ever, and everybody's just beyond scared, and they're showing this woman who's actually having a flippin' panic attack, and I'm sitting there going, really? And my whole family, they're all into it. They're like, wow.
The music's playing in the background.
I made a statement. I said it out loud. I said, okay, listen, the producers of this show are not going to allow these people to do anything that's going to get them killed and then turn around and get them, as the show and the network, sued.
And then publish it after it happens.
I'm like, seriously? Okay. And
they're like, no. Sucker born every day.
No, this is live right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get through this little thing, right, where they have to go through this tunnel that's so scary, and a minute and a half later, this dude comes running up. I'm the show safety officer. There's a storm coming. We have to get you off the mountain. Way to out yourself.
But here, I mean, it's theatrics. people buy into it. I said just a second ago, there's a sucker born every minute, but see, here's the thing. Like, if you're a critically thinking person and you look at that and you are somebody that has the ability to question, to just take a second question, then you realize, wow, this is not as entertaining as what it first was, presented to be for some people. I mean, all of that stuff. Reality TV. I watched a documentary one time on reality TV, and the truth of the matter is that everything that's deemed reality TV had a script, and then it was written and it was approved, and so everything that you see, and it was about what are they? The Alaskan bush people. That's what it was about. It was about them and how they submitted a script of what they were supposed to be like, how they were supposed to behave. They actually don't live where they are supposed to be living on the show. They live somewhere else. They come out. They act out. They are the most outrageous. They are all this. So if you're an Alaskan bush people, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not real. And then you come to find out, man, is anything real?
Not when it comes to reality TV.
But everything's reality.
What about politics?
That stuff is just
What about the manipulation in politics?
Oh,
Look
man.
at even our local level, how fake it is. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
the
be
person.
real,
Yes.
honestly, truly real, with no agendas or no, I just want to win because I want my name stamped on a win, especially when you're serving other people. What is real? It's just, it's almost depressing.
Yeah.
I won't do that because we got Thanksgiving coming
We live in the
up.
Matrix, man.
But, you get into these weird conversations where you're wondering what layer somebody's living in. Because there are layers to life. There's layers to everything you get into, right? I'm in a business world where I get to see layers that just blow my freaking mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Dallas talking to these people about some stuff and realizing the scale of what's available in my little industry, and they're talking about a job that would change my life is nothing to them. It's just unbelievable, and there's layers, but even socially and with the ability to look at the world and understand and try to see where others are at without being judgmental and being graceful, but really going, wow, people have no clue. People have no clue. And these escapisms that we all get granted to us, when you're in a position to go, I'm going gambling for fun. I don't gamble, by the way. But when I have done it in the past and the occasions that I've done it, it's $100. I'm not going to get rich. It's like going to the movies. And I'm going to let myself partake in this little whim of a maybe. But I know there's a cutoff. There's a lot of people that don't have that gear, and most people don't. And when you realize what people allow themselves to believe or how far they allow themselves to go down tunnels, it's almost unbelievable.
I don't gamble because I don't want to clean the house out, Andy. That's why I don't. I mean, because I know if I were to take $100 into the casino, I would walk out with $1 million.
We'd have a new studio.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, hey, but okay. Going back to this, doesn't that just come down to like ego? To me, it's a false front. It's an ego thing. This, in different aspects of people's lives, it's like how many times do people sit back watching a football game? They're the armchair quarterback, or they're watching the Mike Tyson fight, or they're whatever it might be, and legitimately think to themselves, "Oh, I could do that. I could do that." Well, when's the last time you ran a mile? When's the last time? It's like whenever I did Taekwondo. It's amazing how many people cannot do Taekwondo. It's not because they can't. It's because they're just not willing to put in the effort, the energy. They think it's like this. For instance, I'll go back to this. Lots of people think they can fight. I mean, that's the reality. There is a lot of people in their mind that they think that they can fight, that they were going to do something to somebody or whatever the case may be. And the reality is don't push somebody that's a trained fighter, because even if they take it easy on you, they're probably going to hurt you.
I don't know, man. I've watched Bloodsport probably 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure I can do the dim mak.
But it's this illusion.
Can you do the splits on the chairs?
No.
Well, of course I can.
Physically, I cannot do that.
Of course I can. All I have to do is just put those chairs out there and do it.
That's
you know
it.
I can.
That's it.
Everybody knows I can.
You know what? In a couple days, I'll get myself there.
Yeah, of course.
A couple days.
But it's but it's like, okay, for instance, it's like just talking about what we do. Andy, how many people do you think look at what you do and think, oh, I could do that? I could do that. How many people do you think look at what you do, Chad, and are like, oh, well, I could do that, and then want to be
thousands upon thousands upon thousands. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because you know what? They inducted the CEO of Axios into like this Hall of Fame, and he just absolutely unloaded on all of those thousands of people who think they can do what I do.
And rightly so.
And the fact of the matter is, you can't, and you're not willing to make the sacrifices to do it. We don't get up I'm going to use his words. I don't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for my enjoyment. I do it because it's my job and I have to. And what I do is hard, whether you believe it or not.
Well, and heavy is the crown, man, because you are in your position subject to every single person that wants to be the armchair quarterback and think that you should do it this way, that way, or whatever. They don't even know the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah,
you know?
I think doing it, there's some truth to that, but there's also another side, right? There's always another side to it. And it's the lack of credibility with the big media stations and what they've chosen to do for political gain. Because there is a left and a right media right now. And 80% of the media at one point was, this was 6 months ago, was owned by the left-leaning politicians and that system. Just like when you look at the NEA and what's going on in the school system. I mean, that's a left-leaning organization, hard, not even just a little bit. And then they tell you they're different. And people start looking at that and going, yeah, that's not right. Why does your ideologies and philosophies matter more than mine? And how do we meet in the middle? And once people get power, they don't want to give any back. And that's where it becomes this big game. So there's a part to the media that's done it to themselves at some level. And it's hurting everybody for the small group that's done it at the highest levels, right? The big channels, because they're chasing dollars, big dollars, and they're willing to do what they need to do to make those accounts keep coming in. That's just the same place. People hate Twitter that are in your industry. Well, it's mixing up the game and changing some stuff up, and money's moving around, and there's big money that moved away from them when they're starting to try to leverage, like they would do a tariff for a country, spending power. So now they're going to hurt them by not putting any money into this fund because they're not playing the game that they want them to play.
Well, and I just watched on too. Now, this is interesting. As I was scrolling the news today, I saw that there were multiple companies that now removed the ban on X. They had a ban on X. They didn't want to participate with X. They basically boycotted X. And now, well, they're not going to boycott X anymore. It's all about them dollars, man.
100%. It has a lot to do with it. And I think coming at it as pure as you can, because anytime there's a token system in a society, you're going to have those things that happen. I mean, there's a business function to churches that people don't want to realize, that don't understand that happens on the backside.
A bunch of sensationalism, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, the most sacred thing to many of us, which is our faith, I know at this table to be true with all of us here today, a number one thing, right? There's a lot of stuff out there, but our number one thing is our faith and our ability to practice that faith the way we choose. And some of that's been handed down to us by generations of family, and we hold that near and dear because of that. There's a system behind that it needs to take place for us to be able to do what we do and to continue to multiply the numbers and to get our message out in front of people and to give people hope and opportunity. And there are some Christians that will, and I will speak in Christians because of all of us at this table. That's, there's other religions out there that do the same thing, but they all have a mechanism or a system. But there's Christians that will deny that needs to exist. And it's mind-blowing to me to realize you understand that's a piece of all of it, right? Like school systems and economic development. I've had people ignorantly say that has nothing to do with economic development. I'm like,
it has everything to do with economic development.
I mean, on so many levels, depending on how you want to break out that conversation and unpack it.
Yeah.
But the whole reason to put kiddos through our system is to feed the system. That's an economic powerhouse that helps serve the world. And there's so many layers locally about economic development that happens through our system because we train people to go out and fulfill these roles in our communities in all different ways that support our economics, that give us the lifestyle, the roads, and the things that we have to use and share with each other to build our society. And when you say stuff blanketed, like we are not, is it our main focus? Well, no. But you better damn hell have it up there in a 1, 2, or 3 tier and understand that's just a part of how it works. And again, there's some people that are so narrow focused and so obsessive OCD over one little piece. They can't get their head around the system. And that's why you have people in those systems that you hope you recruit on purpose that have those skills, and you have the other person that you need as well because they need to fill the gaps. But you understand how to play together. And that's what we don't have today. We have people that want to be everybody else's job or role instead of going, what did you build me to do? Or what do I feel like I'm here for?
Well, I don't even say, I don't think they want to be everybody else's role. I think they just, this ego tells them that they can. It's like multiple things in my life. You know, my big pet peeve is if I don't know how to do something, then I'm okay saying I don't know how to do it. I want somebody to teach me how to do it. I'm okay and open for correction. I mean, that negative word people think, or encouragement or mentorship, all of those things. I wouldn't be where I am today and know the things that I know and been able to walk through the experience of if it wasn't for that. But you know, there's no end to the amount of people that want to believe that they can accomplish all of these things, even though they have no idea what they're talking about. And then when you try to tell them, hey, you know, there's a reason why this sauce is made the way that it is. And I can't sit here today in a 5-minute conversation with you and explain it in a way in which you're all of a sudden going to be able to go out here and walk in the same thing I'm doing with all the experience that I've been able to acquire through mentorship. Speaking of this, and this, we had talked on the program in the past how we needed to rest on the First Amendment, right? Talked to Chad about that. I think today is a good day to cover it. I want to prelude that conversation with Chad and doing what he does, and us really appreciating what you do. And there was a letter to the editor that you had talked about, or it was in the editorial. Okay, from the Kansan.
Yeah.
And so when I say you, I mean the Kansan. But so anywho, it talked about how on the day that Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, which would have been the 19th of November, that on the same day certain Republicans used it that day and that time, probably ignorantly, as a way to talk about the national divorce. So I thought it was pretty good. I screenshotted it. I messaged, or I posted it to my social media, and I'm not going to name names, but somebody came on there and they said that they would no longer engage with the Kansan because the Kansan wants to restrict people's First Amendment free speech right.
Yeah, and that's because they read the letter to the editor policy.
Well, okay, but here's my thing. Okay, first, the first thing I thought, and God bless this person's
heart. I read
the
comments.
Yeah,
I read the comment, and it was a response to the letter to the editor policy.
One sentence
that was a part of that as well.
One sentence, a disclaimer. It's a disclaimer. Okay, so interestingly enough, after all of that, the first thought that I had and I had to refrain because God bless this person's heart. It was, of all that you just read there, that's what you took away from it? And then not only that, but it's a one sentence, one liner.
Well, and so part of the response was, and I'm going to paraphrase this, I don't care if I agree with what it is or not, I should be able to read it. I agree.
Yeah, but speaking of First Amendment,
but they were taking issue with that. Our letter to the editor policy has a suggested word limit. It's not a hardline limit. It doesn't say we won't print it if it's over 250 words. It suggests that it be 250 words. There's a reason for that. if anybody's interested. And then
there's a system behind the system.
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
Whoa.
And then it goes to, there's a lot of people who just can't do what I do. And we actually have hired people, and they continue to be employed by my company that cannot do what I do. Okay?
250 words or less is pretty hard to make your point.
Well, no, it's not.
I mean, for people that are not seasoned writers, it does challenge.
She made her point in way under 200 words. And also a part of that policy is a statement that we will edit letters for good taste. So if you're going to use language that I can't use right here about the mayor, for example, that is in poor taste. And depending on what you're saying, it could also be libelous. We're going to take that out. I'm sorry. I'm not going to publish something that's going to get me sued. Again, there's a reason for these things.
Right. And there's other things too. Like you're talking about free speech. The AG, Pam Bondi. A lot of people, a lot of conservatives like her. Right. But you're talking about free speech. She was talking about, because of what college students are doing on the campus, people that are here on visas or people that are here for school that are saying things that she doesn't agree with politically, that we should deport them and send them out. How does that not violate freedom of speech?
That violates the freedom of speech because it's the government doing it.
But you see,
I mean, I hate to say this
points
to start with, just a little that people don't want to hear, but it's true. If you're not an American citizen, you don't have any protection through constitutional rights. So you know, we talk about the First Amendment. That's only granted to individuals that are citizens of the United States.
So freedom of speech doesn't matter if you're not an American?
Well, I mean, by the letter of the law, I'm pretty sure that's the case, right? Because to be a U.S. citizen means that you're then protected by
our Constitution,
and
unless they don't agree with you.
Well, I mean, I'm not for, you know, but people, once again,
this is the whole thing I was getting at.
If you want to go to the letter of it, okay?
Bring it.
She's talking about deporting people. Constitutionally, do you know what our Constitution has given our federal government right to in the area of immigration?
Preach it.
One thing. There is only one thing that our Constitution says that our federal government has the right to. And that's to charge a $10 per head tax. That's it. That is it. Nowhere in our Constitution does it actually give the federal government the right to deport anyone. It only gives them the right to charge those people who are going to stick around a $10 a head tax. That is what our Constitution has to say about immigration and deportation.
But then it goes back to...
It doesn't mean we haven't passed laws that are antithetical to that idea.
But we give our representatives that are duly elected the opportunity to go to Congress and to be able to make laws that then we're all bound by.
Correct. In the Constitution, it gives the states pretty much all the rights when it comes to immigration.
As I bring this up, one of the big issues that we have today is freedom of speech. And let's say this technical detail or that technical detail, I think it's BS. You're either free or you're not. When you're walking in this country, if you're here as a visitor, I think one of the beautiful things is this: smell the air, eat the food, and live the culture, right? And freedom of speech is freedom, even though I am conservative by nature. I'm more conservative than a lot of people, frankly, if you really come down to it. I'm okay with that. Most people that know me are okay with that. The people that don't, I don't worry about. So I worry about a pretty small group of people, the ones that know me and love me and that are closest to me, especially my family, and mostly my family. But when you get people like this as an AG who are already looking and speaking things out into the ether, that would be totally against something that I believe in, which is freedom of speech, you need to call them on it. Because it's okay when it's only our people, and that's the culture we have going on. I've noticed that locally. I'm not talking about Washington, D.C., which is a cesspool of its own in so many ways, and I hope that does get cleaned up. But it's people to the left and right of you. They want to say and use context, but they want to justify when it meets the needs of or a frame of what they believe in, because I am pissed off about these college students walking around doing this crap. I do not like it, but I do not like more the ability for somebody to go and silence them than I do the other. And I'm going to go with the freedom of speech every single time.
Yeah. And we've also come to a situation in our country, and it's a culture. It is that, well, my free speech should be protected, but not yours, because it goes against what I believe and think. So, there's this goes back and forth with, once again, this common theme that I believe I see all the time. And it's that, I should be able to do what I want to do. The government should protect me and my ability to do whatever I want to do within the limits of the Constitution, right? But yet I don't agree with what you're doing. I don't agree with what you're saying. Therefore, then you should be limited in what you're doing. And we go back and forth on this. But going back to Chad, one thing that I was just don't understand is when it comes to the conversation or the comments that were made, is that nobody was restricting this person's First Amendment right to free speech. You can go down to the curb, you can get a box out, you can sit there on the public sidewalk, and you can say whatever you want to say. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. The Kansan's not coming out and kicking you off the box and telling you that you're not allowed to be out here on the public sidewalk speaking the way that you want to speak. And because the Kansan is its own entity, it's its own business, then there's not a right to free speech there.
That last bit of your sentence is critical. And this extends to pretty much every form of media there is. They're private companies. Your right to free speech, when you take a look at, just read the First Amendment. That's where we get this, right? It comes from the First Amendment. And the First Amendment is incredibly clear. Congress shall make no law.
Government shall not infringe.
Congress shall make no law.
And
that is your right to free speech. You don't, I hate to put it this bluntly, but when you're writing a letter to the editor, you have an expectation we're going to publish it, and your expectation is based on your right to free speech. You don't have that right.
You don't even have to have a letter to the editor.
You do not have that right from us.
Yeah, but that's kind of common sense in my mind. Even though you are a paper, and I understand where their argument could lie, at the end of the day, you have to have common sense and realize that it doesn't mean that you're shoe-in.
Right.
It just
now, please understand,
stuff and it's never
while
got
you
printed.
have,
you're violating my First Amendment right to free speech.
I'm gonna sue him.
But understand,
I'm gonna get my lawyers.
I'm gonna get mine.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm gonna go spend $5,000 to get my lawyers. As soon as I get money for a tank of gas to get there.
What's going to happen is, if you actually get to a trial, which you won't, but if you actually get there, I'm going to walk into court and I'm going to look around. I'm like, okay, we're a private business. There is no guaranteed the right to free speech, but we do have policies in place that actually do protect some right to free speech. Our policy says that you can't make libelous statements and you can't cuss and swear. That's what it says.
Shit.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But
you need to make some policies or you're going to get in trouble with me.
There's no right to use profanity on this program.
That's right. And anybody that wants to question any and all of my ethics when it comes to our editorial page, all you got to do is take a look at it this week. Because I printed a letter to the editor from a guy over in Halstead who rips me up one side and down the other, along with another columnist. I mean, seriously.
Because they don't like what they have to say.
They don't like what I had to say. They didn't like what I had to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't. They're calling me a tyrant.
Well, I've been called Hitler.
Okay, and then they didn't like what Thomas Knapp had to say about how our Constitution just isn't working. And you know what? Thomas Knapp has every right to have that opinion. Sorry, it is what it is. And by the way, I rarely agree with Thomas Knapp, and I run him every week. And he's from a libertarian think tank. And I'm blunt and honest with everyone. And I put it right there. It's in print. This is who this guy is, and this is what he represents. And I rarely agree with him, but I print him every. Why is that?
See, do you think a lot?
Because,
I'm with you.
Because it's not about what Chad agrees with. It's about making sure that the conversation that we're having gets had.
And I think that's part of the tools, though. That's part of the system that pisses people off. And I'll give you my 2 cents here on this topic. Try to simplify it for myself, because that's how I am. When you get to another level, Chad can get a phone call from somebody else that says, don't do that. And you got to say, Roger that. And at the high levels, it's gotten to the point because of marketing dollars. And what if Elon said, well, we have to start doing this because we don't want to lose these advertisers? You know, when you have his cash flow, you can say, let's see how this plays out. But a lot of people aren't willing to do that in a lot of systems. In a lot of old legacy systems, big businesses have several tiers of CEOs and people have changed out. There's no founders there, and their duty is to shareholders. And those shareholders are just looking, saying what's going on with the financials. And so they'll try things and do things like DEI and all these types of systems. They'll try to implement them to make things better. And some of them will do well with it. Some of them will manipulate it into their own social needs. And you have all these crazy things that go on. But at the end of the day, when the shareholders are barking, where's my money? What's going on with my money? They're making decisions according to that, and they forget everything else. And I think that's one of the big problems where media's got in trouble, the big media. And that trickles down to you and the Kansan, because that is what they see, so they project that off on you.
Correct.
And this is the spillover where both sides need to take some self-inventory of what's going on there and stop putting everybody in the same buckets, because it's easy for us to do that. It makes life easier for us as individual to do that, right? But I think stepping outside of that and realizing that, Chad, you're doing your best you can, and thank God you're not getting those phone calls. And if you would, I believe you're loud enough to say something about it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, go back to this.
Ask me how many times I've gotten one of those phone calls from my corporate overlords.
Yeah. How many times have we gotten a phone call?
0.
That's awesome.
So they empower you to do what's your job. They trust you.
So now it is on you, you Nazi.
Yeah. You just
exactly
messed up, Chad.
But you know what? There are people who beat that drum. They're corporate. Right. So that they're being controlled. We're not.
Right.
I think in my entire career, I've been editor for 12 years. During that 12-year period where I was editor, there's only been once I've actually even sent an editorial off to the powers that be and said, I'm a little nervous. I didn't even get a response. Okay? So nothing has ever been killed. Ever. The only killing of stories happens by this guy right here. And I've only ever just flat out killed one, and it's because the source proved to be unreliable.
I think Chad's talking about me.
Nope.
Oh. Hey, okay.
No, I have said to you after reading one of your opinion pieces, I think you need to sleep on it. Okay.
Did he sleep on it? Can I know that? Can we talk about this? Or is
let's just say this. It never got printed.
Okay, all right. You slept on it. Good for you.
He had second thoughts.
You picked up the vibe.
And since, because of where this whole conversation started, that's why we ask people for their name and their phone number, because I can read that stuff and go, ooh, that one, I think they went over the line. I'm gonna call them, and I'm not gonna. This is how those calls go down, because very rarely do I just call them and say I'm not gonna run this. I call them and I'll say, look,
are you sure?
I think that this particular sentence could maybe be considered libelous.
Which mine was not.
No. So I would really like you to consider or think about that sentence a little bit. And sometimes, I've only ever had to make that call maybe twice.
My whole, and I'll sum it up now that I've slept on it for many, many, many days. But
this was recent.
Yes. Well, it was right. Yeah, during the election.
The last 2 months.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're wondering what it was about, maybe the person that wrote a letter to the editor in the most recent paper chastising you for your perspective and chastising Mr. Knapp's for his perspective, it was that it's getting to the point where it's ridiculous that just because you're a Republican and you identify as a Republican, then everything is on the table. But by goodness, don't turn that around, because if they're a Democrat, they can do no right. It really comes back to this holding oneself personally accountable to the fact that, look, stealing signs from somebody who's a Democrat because you're a Republican doesn't mean that you're one step closer to Jesus. And if you want to come and you want to behave in a certain way or act in a certain way because you're a Republican and it should be okay, it's not okay.
Right.
It's not okay. And I put that in an articulate way.
Right.
But
and there were a few other paragraphs.
Yeah.
And some of those paragraphs.
Gave some examples.
Gave some
Lance got thug life on a couple things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should have just posted it to my Facebook.
And there were a couple of
your rag show out your back pocket, bro.
Yeah, that horrible guy I am, the horrible man that I am.
So it just got down to, when I got done reading it, I was like, dude, he is really pointing some fingers at people, and I think he needs to kind of think about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's the attitude that I take with everything that comes in. It's like, man, when you get to that, it's like, ooh.
I was talking to a friend the other day about this kind of exactly this divide, Republican, Democrat, hatred, boundary lines, and it's intense in some places for sure. I have family that are on both sides of the fence, and I love them very much, and. This is not something that's just happening in Newton, Kansas. It's some people are more conservative than others. And so if you're not as conservative as me, you're not really a conservative. And there's a divide happening when it's so weird when you realize some of the decisions some of these other people are making are really not conservative.
Well, and it goes back to this. Here's my deal, right?
It's like, because I have, let's just say the Walton situation. Because I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm conservative in every way. I want the government to not overspend and not waste any money. But this thing over here, it's $2.3 million well spent because I like that thing. Yeah. Because of whatever attachments. And you'll talk to 4 people and they have 4 different reasons. And doesn't mean those reasons aren't real. And as somebody that's sitting at the table to have to make that decision when it doesn't weigh out financially. And I am a social emotional aware person. And there are benefits to overspending in some things when it needs to be done to take care of people. But this didn't equate to be one of those things. At the end of the day, when you look at everything that it surrounds it and the money that are being spent and the staff that's getting split and all of the weird vibes that are happening, knowing that this thing was coming down to, come on, right now we have 100 and whatever students in elementary, the lowest we've had in a very long time, and we're going down even further. We need to possibly repurpose a difference. It's another building. Now, this was inevitable. But people aren't going to want to talk about the realness of that because they have their own attachments, or they'd be willing to shut down another school to meet their own needs and say, screw everybody else.
As long as it's not my school.
Yeah, 100%.
Long as
and this
it's
is
not mine.
hard stuff, but as a conservative person, you have to put that gear on. What's the greater good of the whole financially, right? If that's what you want to do and that's what you want. But they'll justify their position to the point of, I hate you now.
Well, it's about this. It goes back to this, okay? If somebody who's a Republican or Democrat, somebody that looks at somebody that's not them, right? Like you're talking about, well, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, and I don't view this other individual as that, then it's okay that I lie, cheat, and steal. It's okay that I lie, cheat, and steal because I justify my own behavior.
Right, like lies that have been made up about me.
Oh, yeah.
From people because and they're conservative, good Christian people.
Speaking of lies.
But they're going to spread hate and lies about me, and I had to confront it for the simple fact that I did something they didn't like. And now they want to try to spin up I'm doing all these things and I'm this horrible person that is fake and uses God as a shield to just get in the way and do those things because I'm a snake like that. It's like, you know what? Screw you.
That sounds like some projection to me.
Dude, somebody screw that thinks you. That about you and I would say the F word, but I'm trying to be good here.
Yeah, we got to be
because
PC.
You know what I mean? Really, PC. Screw you. Who the hell are you? But this really happened to me. This is happening to me. Yeah. And these people are faker than hell. And I'm going, oh, hell no. You're a pansy ass. You can't come to me, talk one-on-one. You want to make up all this stuff because you don't have the balls to confront me because you know you're full of shit. And at the end of the day, I'm sick of that. Like, I'm not playing the games with these people. And now that they know that I am who I am, they're going, whoa, this really nice guy who doesn't want to be confrontational because he wants everybody to like him. It's like, oh, you got me wrong. You got me real twisted. Because once I come, you're done. Because I don't, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, in this situation with these types of divisive individuals, I'm coming for them.
Well, they got a title, Andy. So they're so if they have a title
that they don't deserve at all.
I mean, hey, just get your group of people around you, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and manipulate the hell out of them.
Chad's
and
over
keep
here.
a narrative. But you know what? No. But the truth of the matter is, with these types of people, I've seen them come and go. They don't really have any skills.
No, they just want power and control.
Beyond BS.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're willing to get in the ring and the real one comes with you, you better be ready. Because I promise you, I ain't sleeping. And if you're fake, I'm looking at you. I already see you. Some of them. And the light's on. You're either going to change and get better, or you're going to get the hell out of the way.
Well, that's what we call change, Andy. That's what we call positive change. Okay.
Yeah,
we're coming to the end.
The tractor's
we're coming to the end of the program. So just give everybody their final word. This week went quick. We covered a lot of ground. If you know, you know. That's all I can say. But Chad, you got one final word. What do you got for us this week?
I'm going to have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to have heartburn over somebody that's mad at me because of something that happened on the editorial page. It's just not going to happen. Sorry.
That just makes me so mad. So mad about that, Chad.
You can have the heartburn. I don't need it. I'm going to enjoy my cranberry sauce.
Nice.
All right, Andy, what do you got for us?
Man.
Final word.
I'm really excited about the future. And the conversations I'm having with individuals and hitters around this community that are willing to step up and get uncomfortable and fight for everybody, right? Fight for change for everyone, knowing that there's limits and boundaries, but also that we can love and care about everybody and make this world better. And yeah, sometimes you got to get a little aggressive to tell people what's up, but at the end of the day, you hope all you can do is all you can do, and it's enough. But I'm excited about Lance, what you're doing here, the improvements you've made over the last 4 years. Since the beginning of when you started. I think it's actually only been 2 or 3, but we've been talking about this a lot longer before you started. And I was doing some other stuff as why you were reaching out to me. And I've just been so excited to see your channel growing, to see what you're doing and how you're innovating and getting better with all the details. Chad and the value that he's bringing you to and what I get to do here, which is let off some steam, but be honest and open about the leadership role I want to take in this community with you guys. and really trying to look at the bigger picture and not getting so narrow focused on these. This is what I want, and this is what I'm willing to do for what I want. I want everybody to win. I truly do. And I'm not afraid to knock some people out on the way that I don't think are proving to be those types of people. And that's where I'm going. So I'm excited about it. I love to see the growth, the numbers. I can't see because I don't control the media and I don't have the numbers anymore to see the back end. But I can tell by the views when I go. I think you gained 13 subscribers on YouTube, which is huge. And you continue to grow that, and that's the hardest platform.
Like but 70 on Facebook.
Yeah.
Last month.
Yeah, and it's 70. That's great, and it's continuously gliding and growing, and the algorithms you're doing good work with that. And I can't imagine the views you're getting. It has to be in the tens of thousands now.
It is
on everything that you're doing, and so you're pouring into the community in a way that I see where you're going. I'm excited about it, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this when I get to be here. But at the end of the day, I know I've talked to you about your plans for this next year, and Chad, this is going to be a lot of fun. Come March, they're going to see changes that people are just going to be mind blown about. The first class experience we're going to give them, the information we're going to bring them, and the unabashed push towards making this community better and getting people connected and informed in the right ways. It's going to be exciting. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, you're welcome. My final word is kind of in line with what Andy was, and we must have been thinking like-minded here this morning. But I just want to send a shout out to everybody that views, subscribes, engages. I know just by watching the data on what's happening is it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I just want to say that I appreciate it. I think we appreciate it. I know that we appreciate it. This is not something that a person can do overnight. So I appreciate you sticking with me, coming on board, growing and with me and watching me grow. And from where we were a couple years ago to where we are today is a dramatic change, and we're even gonna have a lot more stuff. I don't just go at this haphazardly. It's not something that just I just do on a whim. We've got a lot of really neat stuff that we're going to continue to do in the future. And like I had mentioned before, stay with us because we're only going to get better. We're only going to grow. I really appreciate you, Andy, for every way you contribute and being a part of this program. Chad, I couldn't do this without you. I love you, brother, and I appreciate all the effort and energy that you put into the Kansan, and I'm glad that we have a partnership together to do all this. So everybody, enjoy your family, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we will catch you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Enjoy it.